in this new environment where we have this higher level of demand and this new kind of connection to the business and the business outcomes, what are you seeing as the hardest things moving in that direction or embracing the capabilities we now have to see across the organization, across those silos?
Yeah, so there's if I break it down, there's probably three things, and it is challenging. I'm not going to say it's easy. So this is a challenging problem to solve, but the benefits that you get are significant. So, you know, with the investment, with the time and effort, you get tremendous value, because this is probably the only area where you're looking at it within the software delivery engine, looking at it end to end. You're looking at it from the time that ideas get spun up to the time that you put it into the hands of the customer, and everything in between. And I'll come back to some analogies further, but if I break it down into kind of three key areas, it's about, you know, it's the people, it's the process, and it's the data. And the data is the key. So if I kind of break those, you know, introspect each of those areas, when we look at the people, you need people that are progressive. If there's not this sort of we're looking to improve, we're happy with the status quo, then you've got this level of apathy within the culture of the organization that it's not going to be successful. It's just going to, you'll get this mean reversion. We've done it this way. The do nothing scenario prevails. Even though, you know, you might have conversation with people like us around how do I do it, eventually you get to this point where you say, yeah, it's all too hard. You know, not enough sponsorship. So you need this. You need someone with clout that's progressive enough. This culture then drives where we're looking at how we improve things. So if you've got a great sponsor, and it might be your leader, your manager, it might come from top down, but you definitely need this clout and progression. So I think there's progressive culture as well as clout for someone to actually do something and step forward. And the ones that have been most successful are you know, the ones that come to us and, you know, are really pushing us even to surprise us. So, you know, customers that come to us, we love the customers that's thinking ahead of the curve of where we are, and we then use that in terms of our product direction, and when we help augment and we work together. So that's probably the first thing. The other part is the process. When you think about a value stream, fundamentally at its core, it's a process that you go through. You've got to start, you've got to finish, and you've got a bunch of nodes in between. In those nodes, there's activities that are occurring. So if you break it down like that, there's a process. But, you know, the hard thing there is that it's a cross-functional process, and often it's a not well-defined process. So, we worked with one telco provider on the East Coast, and we said, okay, you know, once we signed the deal, we were doing the implementation, and you get there and say, well, let's just whiteboard it. You know, let's put the high-level building blocks of your process or your value stream up on the whiteboard so that we can then, you know, map it into the tool. So we do that. We go for okay, everyone happy with that? We go for a coffee break. We go for a coffee break and we come back and it's all changed. It's like, no, we don't want to do it that way, or this bit's different. So I think that, you know, understanding that it's a cross-functional process where you've got lots of different people involved, and often they're not under direct control. So there's a level of influence in the handoffs, understanding that process end to end, and kind of going to a level of granularity that actually is going to be impactful. You don't have to go to the nth degree. So we see, and it's not one process, there's multiple processes or multiple value streams that you have in the organization that you use for different types of assets. So you might have a fast value stream, you might have a slow value stream, things like that. So that's the other one. And then probably the hardest part, so I think that's pretty deterministic. You can get to that one, but the other one is around the data. So the data, and we talked about this in other sessions, which is when you implement a value stream management platform, you want to see the outcomes. And what I mean by outcomes is you want to see where the bottlenecks are. You want to see where the challenges are. You want to see how is this improving the way that I deliver software on a daily basis. And we think about that as, what's the executive report that you're looking at? So if you're a sales manager or sales leader, you look in and you look at your forecast, you look at the deal flow. If you're a market maker, you look at the spot prices that are available. So when you're looking at value stream, what is that report that you're looking at? So we think about data as both the outputs, and this is what you see it as executive level. Who's paying the bill? What do they want to see? That's the first one. And then what do you need to bring in with the data to actually support that? And that's where it becomes a little bit more challenging, because those interface, excuse me, those interfaces to bring out the data often aren't standardized, or there's logic that needs to be built into those. So that's what we see as the choke point. So I'd say, kind of summarize, it's about people with cloud mapping the value stream and then using data to support the decision making and bringing in the relevant data. So it's kind of those three things are challenging. If I was to rank them, I'd say people number one, data number two, and process number three in terms of complexity.